my name is Mark Kritek, and today I'm going to talk about the gold standard. Gold standard originated by Great Britain in 1821, where gold was directly tied into the currencies. Now, this was a classical system that was functional to about 1914, and with the World War I and the issues, in the 19th century, things didn't work well. But after World War II, 1944, 44 countries got together in Bretton Woods in North Hampshire, United States, and springboard into the new framework and monetary policies around the world, which established essentially International Monetary Fund and World Bank that helped to create post-World War II developments throughout the damaged countries around the globe. The system worked well until 1971, when Richard Nixon, 37th president, decided to abandon the system and go away from the gold standard. Now, in 1971, and ultimately all other currencies around the world were tied into the dollar. The dollar was tied or pegged into the gold, which, in my opinion, was a very good idea. But the world had different ideas because I think greed and other forces made their ways in. The fun fact is that since 1971, United States dollar lost about 90% of its value. Isn't that insane? 90% of its value? That's definitely crazy. Inflation is it's a speed, or it's a rate by time where value of your goods and services go down. Central banks around the world, they believe that inflation about 2% a year is a solid way of dealing with the price increases. I personally don't believe that. If we go back into the gold standard, the fluctuation was less than 1%, and everything was tied into the gold, which was some sort of like a invisible force that forced governments to obey by certain rules. When that went away, obviously certain things just went ballistic. All the countries start printing money like there's no tomorrow. Yes, some negativity comes from we wouldn't probably build the world the way we know it today, but yet for regular Joe Schmo, I think being part of the gold standard was good because there was something that we all saw some a safety in that regard. Imagine that you work every day and you don't probably realize it, but you might realize it one day that everything that you do, everything that you buy, with your money losing value. So that part is significant, to really think about it. Now, I want to also share something about the GDPs of individual countries, which is a fun fact, and also give you kind of idea why the fiat money. Fiat means official order. Government decides something. It's a Latin word. It's an Italian car. It's a Latin word. It says let it be done, or decree, or in other words, official order by government. Say, hey, this will be our money, and that's what it's going to be. The largest economies are naturally United States, which is about $30 trillion or so, which holds about 8,133 tons of gold that hasn't been bought since 1971. So United States holds the same amount of gold for the last 50 years or so. Now, the gold reserve, one ton of the gold today is about $125 million. And so United States holds about 3.5% in gold reserves. Is it a lot? Is it not? I think probably not. I think it should be more than 10% or more, but that's only my opinion. Now, the second one is China, $18.5 trillion. They hold about 1.5% in their gold reserve. Third one, surprisingly, is Germany. Germany holds about 3,350 tons, and the economy is valued around $4.6 trillion, and so they hold about 9%, which in my opinion is somehow, that should be right. And if you go down the list, then we have a Japan, we have India, we have a UK, France, Italy. After Italy, we have Canada, Brazil, and an 11th place is Russia. The reason why I'm making Russia, because Russia actually holds the largest gold reserve ratio towards the GDP. GDP of Russia today is $2.1 trillion. Again, some of these numbers of trillions might be a little bit off because everybody might have a different data that they find online. But I'm talking about ratio of gold reserve compared to the GDP. One fun fact is that the UK has about 310, 320 tons of gold compared to $3.6 trillion. And so the British pound is so high up, compared to US dollar, yet they don't have gold reserve to back it up. So it's kind of tough. Italy, surprisingly, is 13.5% compared to their GDP. And that's, in my opinion, high. Another fun fact is Switzerland, 1 trillion, and they hold also, I think, 13.5% of their gold reserve. So also significant. That's why Chinese Swiss franc is also valued higher than dollar. Whether gold has something to do with that, I'm not sure, but for you guys to think about it. One fun fact is Canada. Canada holds 0 tons of gold in their reserve. In 1960s or 70s, they decided they will get rid of all the gold because everybody went away from the gold. So are they the smartest people in the room? I don't know. Excuse me. For regular Joe Schmo, I believe that there needs to be some, like I said earlier, some sort of way of holding government responsible to some sort of mechanism. And if there's none, then people printing money or so as they wish. So U.S. dollar losing dominance in the world. Excuse me. And largely that happens because in 2009, an organization called BRICS was created in Yekaterinburg, Ural, the Russian city in Ural, which divides Europe and Asia, throughout the mountains. And the BRICS contains countries of Brazil, Russia, India, China. In 2010, South America joined them. Back in the day, it wasn't really big deal yet. It was just in the infancies. But today, 2025, Chinese dominance or Chinese yuan is making a difference. Converting different loans of different countries into Chinese yuan, and that starting to shifting the dominance of US dollar. And so are we supposed to be scared as far as Americans, the dominance, United States currency? Not sure, but something always needs to start somewhere, and this is definitely the direction. At the end, I hope you learned something about the gold standard and something makes sense. Obviously, central banks around the world, they have a systems that they tie each other, into some ways, and they control the life as we know it, which for regular Joe and Schmo is not something that is very easy to understand. But I leave you at that one thing: countries cannot be borrowing infinitely. Every country in the West, the debt is swelling, and there's no sign of slowing it down. And so when it comes to voting, you gotta go and start voting for the people that they actually wanted to reduce the debts. They want to be more sustainable. They want to be like a free enterprise businesses that that if you cannot afford it, you cannot buy something. So keep in mind, vote for people. They actually understand the budgets and they understand how the world should work, not what we want the world to be. And so thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next one.